I'm Keeley, as he said, co-founder of STEM Kids Rock, which is a pretty much organization that is peer-based kids teaching kids about science in really fun ways. So Leah is amazing, so that's Lucas's daughter, and she knows everything and anything about a meteorite. So we have some meteorites that she teaches about. I have a PowerPoint that maybe I'll remember, maybe not. Hope you guys do a little bit better with your presentation, but awesome. Okay. Yes. Awesome. So I'm Keeley, co-founder of STEM Kids Rock, and STEM Kids Rock's mission is to inspire the next generation of STEM leaders. Growing up, it was always a little tough for me to see myself in the science world. So I have 2 learning disabilities, dyslexia and ADHD, and that played a big role in my life, especially in elementary school. I was always told that I was a dumb kid. I was never seen as smart. If somebody had a question, they wouldn't go to me, especially I'd be the last person. But I had this passion of learning, passion of going to museums. And then eventually I learned that that passion was me not being dumb, I was just different. So even though I had dyslexia, even though I have ADHD, I have these struggles still in high school. I have to take double time for tests, which really doesn't mean anything. It just means that I get a fair shot at that same thing. That also means that I'm not dumb, but I'm different, which is a really cool thing to think about. Because nobody wants to be normal. Normal's like that one SpongeBob episode where he becomes that normal guy. No fun. So growing up, I always went to museums. I lived at the Science Center, at the ROM, and the zoo. Every time we'd go on a family vacation, the first thing we would do was find the closest museum. I grew that love of learning there, and it just exploded. It turned into me asking all the questions that nobody asks, like where does concrete come from when we're driving in the car, or why do we use our alphabet? Even though I wasn't great with the alphabet, hence the dyslexia, I still wanted to know where it came from and why. I had this love of learning that kept growing and growing and growing, which turned into collecting small insect paperweights. So that's the first of our collection. My brother and I, every time we do well in a soccer game or a hockey game, maybe we got a good mark on a test, my grandmother or my parents would buy us one of these little paperweights of insects. And it got to a point where we had this little bin of insects. And I learned pretty quickly that that's not a normal thing to have in your house when you're 2, but I absolutely love them. I'd sneak into my brother's room and play with them, because I break a lot of things, it's just me. But I really grew up with these there and learning from these. Even though they don't look too cool, they're amazing when you're that young. Amazing to know something and be able to share that knowledge when you're being told that you're the stupid kid. Being able to know about these insects is pretty amazing. We started to realize that we had such a big collection of insects, and it's pointless having a collection of anything and not sharing it. It's like it's pointless having knowledge and not putting it in a book. That's how we get our textbooks today. These people with great knowledge and amazing discoveries, it's pointless for them to keep it to themselves. So we wanted to share our knowledge of insects and started with one of our first events at the Markham Museum. So you can see a very rough picture of my brother and I right after he had a shoulder surgery, and just me. Not a good time. But great insects. So those are our insects. That's the basis of our collection. We had butterflies, we had really anything. We had a tarantula, and we just loved teaching and loved learning about them. So over time, it got to a point where our love of learning grew, and it especially grew with my brother. So my brother is an amazing student, where he's able to read a textbook, know it, get perfect A's, where I'm not quite like that. But we still have that same love of learning. So throughout elementary school, my brother actually was able to go to Canada White Science Fair a couple times and get some medals. But throughout it all, I always looked up to him. So when you're a younger sister or a younger sibling, your goal in life is to annoy that older sibling with all your might, and also maybe become them one day. Like my brother, he had glasses, made my parents take an old pair of his glasses, spend a lot of money to put real glass in them so I could wear them. I played hockey because he did. But then he got injured, like I said, he had that shoulder surgery. So then he fell in love with science. He fell in love with it in the classroom. But I fell in love with it outside of it, which is a pretty normal thing for a kid to do. But I saw how much fun he was having, and I just wanted it. I wanted all of that joy. So hence the collection growing. But through this, my brother was actually given a lot of cool opportunities with different organizations and different ways of helping other people. And that really made it so we had the basis for STEM Kids Rock, which is originally called Developing Innovations, which doesn't sound like a very kid-friendly name. But it grew and grew and grew where we were able to really have fun and be together. So whenever, you guys probably know this from being with one of you guys, but whenever you start an organization or a not-for-profit or a company, you always have to have a problem to address. So our problem was that we saw that many kids weren't given the opportunity to explore science outside of school. And that was my problem growing up. My brother was able to thrive in school where a lot of kids aren't. A lot of kids aren't those cookie-cutter students. But we noticed that there was this problem where they're not given the same opportunities that my brother and I were given to go to the ROM, the zoo, to really anywhere to go. Where we were just kind of lucky. We were lucky, where a lot of kids don't get that. We also realized that now when you're looking at statistics, 75% of the future jobs are going to be in STEM. So we need these kids that are not just inspired by their classroom, but inspired by outside things, because that's when that love of learning has to start at an early age. You have to be able to spark that love and really making it so that there's so many jobs in the future in that world of STEM. You have to be able to have that love of it to really follow it in the future. So when you have a problem, you always try and find the solution, like 2 + 2 is 4, not 5, right? That kind of solution. But our solution was bringing the science to the kids, to them, putting it, as Lucas said, into our car. All these fossils, all these insects, minerals, taking it to the kids to get them inspired. And it took years to kind of master this solution. So STEM Kids Rock has been around for 5 years, and the first year was more kind of asking like, hey, we won't block any fire exits. We have a couple tables we'd like to set up. Can I just kind of be here? I won't bother you. Where it's gotten to a point where we're getting emails every week asking, can you do this in June when it's only February? So it's absolutely amazing the growth that we've had. So we've gotten to a point where we're going places and we're being wanted places, which is an amazing feeling. And we have this gigantic group of youth volunteers. So we're all peers, teaching peers, in that really wonderful system. When you're kids, the last thing you want to do is ask your teacher for help. You always go for the student next to you or the other person in your class. You won't go to your teacher because there's this understanding of different levels. But here at STEM Kids Rock, we make it so everybody's one level. Everybody's able to talk face to face. If I have a rock in my hand, I can just walk up to you and say, hey, what do you think this is? Leah is absolutely amazing. She went from being this very antisocial, shy girl who hid at all moments of the day when we were together at any of my events. She'd hide behind the signs, under the table one time, I'm pretty sure. But she's an amazing girl. Over time, STEM Kids Rock gave her the skills and gave her the comfortability to teach. Because teaching is only really its best when it's a conversation. And you always have to remember that. I have horrible stage fright, but I'm able to do something like this because I treat it like a conversation. Because this is how I would talk to my friends at school. This is how I talk to a little kid who wants to know about a fossil. So it's the best thing that you can do, just treat it like a conversation. So all these kids treat it like a conversation. Here's Leah, right there. That's her right there. I love her. But she knows everything about meteors now. I went to a point where she was hiding to now she carries a meteor, walks up to just a random person, an adult, kid, anybody, say, hey, you want to touch my rock? Something like that. Like something amazing, because she is amazing. But you have to realize that kids grow and kids learn how to communicate in a conversation. Because once you treat it like it's a presentation, when you treat it like it's I need to wear a suit and tie and I need to be really proper, that's when you get nervous and that's when you get kind of scared to be yourself. But being yourself is the best thing you can do. So these are some pictures of some events. This is one of the most recent ones, and I absolutely love this picture. So our STEM Kids Rock, we have about 75 volunteers, so all youth. And when we go to events, we may not get all 75, which is understandable, but I believe at this event we only had about 6 or 7. But this is at a community center for their literacy day, and the amount of kids that come and learn from amazing people like Trevor, like Ashley, it's just amazing, because they're able to have this conversation and this comfortability. So then we got to a point where we were able to become that free mobile science center. So it started off more, we had this one bin of insects, which then grew to another bin of rocks, which grew to another bin of fossils, in which now they've taken over my house. I'm sorry. say sorry to my mother. It's all in our living room. We have a 6-foot-tall casting of a fibia of a Quadosaurus, which is not something you usually have, so that's our Christmas tree. It's our life now, but you have to realize there is this progression. And that progression took us to the point where we are a free mobile science center, which is pretty cool to say. We're able to bring science not just to any kid, but also to those kids who need it the most. Those kids who don't necessarily have the money to be able to go to those space camps, to those science camps. We go to them. There's a camp called Go Green, which is all underfunded kids. They don't have enough money to say, here, I'm going to give you $500 to let me go to camp, to a really fun camp. So there's 100 kids at this camp. And we go and we do engineering challenges with them. It was the most amazing moment that I could ever see with Centuries Rock because we were able to run this event with these kids who needed it the most. So that's why we're free. I get told every time that I go to an event that, oh, you could make so much money from this. You could do birthday parties, you could do anything. But I don't want to do birthday parties. I don't want to do the things that will give me money. I want to do the things that will make me smile. Because joy is the most powerful thing you could have in life. So that's why whenever you go for a business venture, you want to make sure it's something that you are passionate about, not something that you do because your pockets are empty at the moment, right? So we provide a peer-based empowerment and training programs. So that sounds very professional, but it's more, whenever we get a new kid with Centuries Rock, we make it so that we kind of show them that it is a conversation. It's nothing to be scared of. So it'll be more, say I get a new little girl, she'll kind of shadow me or she'll be with somebody else, anybody she wants to be with, and she'll just learn to teach one thing. So maybe it's the mammoth tooth, maybe it's the woolly rhino's rib, but you learn that one thing. And over time, once you start saying that one thing over and over again, you start to enjoy being able to teach something that you didn't know before. Having that knowledge is so empowering. And then you move on to the next thing if you want. And then you get to a point where you're like me and you know the names of almost everything, like an Archaeopteryx is a transition dinosaur, and it's like so much in my brain. Really, I just need to remember biology stuff, but it's okay. It's just this movement of conversation where you get so comfortable to talk about. So it's really amazing. So this is one of the events at Metamorphosis, which is a girls' conference for girls in STEM. We do many different types of workshops, but this is honestly one of my favorite pictures. You see the girls working, but you also see our volunteers being absolutely amazing. So it's really just having that conversation and having fun with them. When you put that white lab coat on, you are not higher than anybody else. You were equal. You just happen to be wearing a pretty cool white lab coat, and I'm kind of proud that we have them, because it's pretty cool when you get one. But being able to work with your peers and talk about science is absolutely amazing. So there's Leah again with the meteorite. She's amazing. I love her. But you see these awesome volunteers who are just kids, teaching to other kids, teaching to adults. And that really breaks down that barrier that says adults are better than kids, or your teacher has all the power where you don't. So when you're passionate about something, teach about it, because otherwise it's pointless having that in. Science is a subject that is full of teamwork. When you get a discovery, you put it into a textbook. And even though you may have gotten that discovery by yourself, putting it into a textbook, putting it into a paper, somebody else is going to read it and take that knowledge and carry it on and maybe build on it. So you always have to remember that. So this is just one of our events. Sometimes events we only have 5 volunteers, only have 6, but that's okay because we have passion, we have a want to teach. And whenever we do events, we're always very open to talking. We always talk about not just science, but also how that kid's day is going, because that really lightens it up. So we've engaged over 150,000 youth, and I know that's a crazy number to think about, but you have to remember last year we did over 73 free events. We've done events in the past, we do speaking engagements like this, but it's really just full of fun. So this is the Go Green Camp I was talking about. These were all the kids, and they were absolutely amazing. It was a lot of fun, and they enjoyed it, and we mostly enjoyed it too. So through these events, we have a lot of fun, but it's not just fun, it's also a business when you think about it. The business is taking the science to kids, getting kids inspired to become science leaders in the future, become STEM leaders and STEM educators. So we do many different events all through the year. So we do schools, conferences, we do Girl Guides, Scouts. We'll go to a community center, we'll come to things like this. We'll do so many different things in our community because we can, because we have that knowledge that we have to share. So we spread the love of our free events. We do it all because we're self-funded. So we don't want to have to take money. So we get offered money sometimes if we go to an event. They're like, oh, how much do you cost? The best part is we don't cost anything. So our whole goal in the future is to become a charitable organization where we can get funded by the government so that we can spread our love of science and our love of learning across so many more platforms and so many more people to see. But that was really we've only been able to do so many things with STEM Kids Rock because of social media. So we know when we think of social media, we think of just Snapchat and Instagram, Twitter, Facebook for your parents, just something so that we're able to connect with each other. But social media has done a lot for STEM Kids Rock. You have to treat it also as a business platform. So you're not only selling yourself face to face when you're with somebody, you're also selling yourself with your social media footprint, which is so important. It's more important really than talking face to face because that doesn't happen too often. Social media is the most important thing you could do and the most important thing you can really use. So with STEM Kids Rock, over the years, we've always taken pictures and posted things on our Twitter and on Instagram, Facebook, anything, where our next event is, what happened at this event, pictures of the kids teaching. And through using social media, through posting and supporting other things, and getting support from places like Y2 Labs on social media, has really made us grow in a way that nobody really would have thought. So it gave us the opportunity to get a Guinness World Record. So I have the Guinness World Record for the world's largest water rocket, which is a pretty cool thing. Pretty proud of it. But when you think of somebody who has a world record, you think of, oh, that's crazy. I'm never going to grow my nails that long, or I'm never going to be able to push a cucumber on the ground for like 150 meters. But you can do whatever you want. So remember, world records are for anything. You could have a world record for like the coolest glasses, maybe. I don't know. You guys got pretty cool glasses out there. But world records are attainable because you have that passion, and you have a want, and you can do it. You just have to look at what the last person did, or you can make your own record. But when we show a record, we don't show it to be like, I got a world record, you don't have. No, it's not something we do. It's more to show that you're able to get it in the future. You're able to build your way up there. So it starts small. It starts with that one little bit of insects that you have that isn't a normal thing, but it is to you now, to grow into being able to teach and engage over 150,000 youth, to getting a world record and being able to meet one of our heroes, Colin First, who's a big YouTuber in the UK. And we did this for a YouTube Red show, which is pretty cool. So that's the record. So that's our rocket. It was pretty big. It misfired in my brother's face, which was pretty great. I was fine. He wasn't, but it's okay. So it was about 12 feet tall and an inch and a half in diameter. So the original rocket was about 11 feet tall and it went 16 feet in the air. So it seems like pretty high height. So we got it to go 75 feet in the air. It's pretty cool. Pretty proud of that. So all we have left is the top and the fins of the rocket because, like I said, it misfired and it's huge. It doesn't really fit in our basement because we already have a subsonic wind tunnel down there for my brother. So weird things. But we were able to only do this because of social media. And we were only able to do this because of STEM Kids Rock, because we had that love of learning at an early age. So social media not only got us to get it so we could get a world record, but it also made it so I was able to be invited to the Science Center to speak. This was an amazing day for me. It was an amazing and scary day. That day was amazing because I got to speak about being a girl in STEM and talk about what it's like and being able to be at where that love and passion started and be able to educate there. But it also was because later that day, I believe like 2 hours later after this, my dad had a heart attack. He actually had a heart attack at the Science Center and we took him to the hospital. He's okay now, but it was a scary day. But when you succeed, it doesn't go without struggles. So all throughout high school, it felt like every year something's gone wrong. Like the first year my mom had cancer. Then grade 10, my grandma had a stroke. My father had a heart attack and both of his knees blew out, so he's bedridden. And now my grandmother in Long Island sick. But that is okay because we have science to work on that. But it's not just the scary things that happen, but it's also those amazing things that happen. We got a world record. I got to speak at the Science Center. I got to go to the Science Center school. So they have a science school for grade 11. Or well, you apply grade 11, you go grade 12. So I just graduated from there. But nothing comes without struggle. So even though I'm able to say that I engaged 150,000 youth, even though I'm able to say that I have a world record, it doesn't come without hardships. You have to be able to be willing to go over those struggles and be able to persevere through them. Even though it was one of the scariest days of my life, it was also one of the most amazing. And that's what happens a lot. So when you do start a business, it's going to start off rough. It's going to start off with you making a pitch, somebody not liking it. And even though you believe in that pitch so much, maybe eventually when you pitch it, you're going to be told, that is an amazing thing to do. And then that will become the next big company, that your stocks will be absolutely amazing. You'll be at the top, you'll be better than Google, better than Apple. But that's because you persevere. Everything comes with hardships, and you always have to remember that. But then it also got us to talk in New York. So this past year, my brother and I actually were flown out to New York to talk because we were Guinness World Record holders. We were asked by Guinness to go and talk at the Youth Marketing Summit, which was an amazing, amazing situation that I never thought would happen. When you get recognized like this, you always have to remember that there are those struggles behind it, because it makes it feel like you really earned it. So whenever you do something, like whether it be just that chemistry exam that you did really well on, you have to remember you did well on it not because of a fluke, not because of luck, but because you worked hard, because you studied. You're here because you guys have done amazing things. You get to work with Lucas, who is absolutely amazing, who's my mentor. I love him. He's great because he's amazing, because he's able to push you guys up, because you guys have that passion. You are here. You're here for a reason. You're here because you guys are smart kids who want to do amazing things in life. So, as I said, I was at the Science Center Science School this past year, so I'm semester 73, and it was absolutely amazing. So I got to go to the Science Center for a whole semester, and that's because I have this passion to learn. You don't have to be a straight A student to go there, you just have that passion. So I applied. I didn't think I'd get in because it's a little bit of a competition to get in, so you get 60 kids a year, 30 per semester from all across Ontario. And then I ended up graduating and getting my red lab coat, being able to wear it with pride. So that's what I wear to my events now. I'm able to wear it because I earned it. I worked hard, right? So it's all about working hard. So the future goal of Some Kids Rock is to advance it, to make it so that our Kids Teaching Kids movement is huge. Because once you see those kids like Leah smile, it's absolutely amazing. Because she has that empowerment in her to be able to have that science education, be able to have that communication between peers and between adults. Because that's the biggest power we can use. And also to become a national charitable organization. That is an amazing thing to become. And that is really our future goal. That's what we're moving towards. We're moving towards being able to get funded, be able to go more than just in the GTA, but be able to go to places like Arizona where we've had schools interested in us. The funny thing is, every time I check my email, I never know what I'm going to get. The other month, I got an email from a school in Arizona asking if we could come to their STEM night. And I had to break the news to them that I don't really know how to drive yet. I'm only 17. I don't think I can bring fossils like that I have across the border. Never been to Arizona. I don't really know where it is in the US, but maybe one day. So there's always those cool little nitbits that happen. But once we're able to become a national charitable organization, we're able to go all across Canada, make it so we have chapters where it's not just ours, but we also have places in Alberta, in British Columbia, just places that are able to teach like we do. So I just wanted to say thank you guys, and if you ever do want to volunteer with Some Kids Rock, you can go on to really any of social media. You can message me, you can message Some Kids Rock, and you can go on to somekidsrock.com. You can communicate with us there, because we're always looking for new volunteers, new faces, because it truly is a really fun thing to do. Thank you.